Thank you, Lee. So, hello everyone. I welcome you to Meshery in the current meeting. And so today is August 14th and another meeting where we will talk about all the PR issues being worked on in Meshery repository and the project, itself. We have a couple of other updates too that we will be talking about, Meshery incubation proposal and presentation. So, once again, the link to this docs is in chat. For those of you who just joined, make sure you mark your attendance. Also mention your agenda items. All right, so let's get started with the meeting, and I will let everyone on the call, take a moment to take a look at the whatever items we have, and then talking about Meshery. So Meshery is one of the projects that the layer community is towards, and is also 10th fastest growing CNCF project. So it lets you manage and deploy your Kubernetes infrastructure, about which you can read a whole lot on our documentation. So I'm sure that Argun or Asperse will be sharing the links to the docs where you can read more. With that, I will request anyone who is new on the call to go ahead and give a quick intro. So I'll be taking a look at the Zoom's participant list. I see Abhishek Singh. So Abhishek, is it the first time that you are on this call? If yes, do you mind giving your intro? And just as a quick heads up, if you have any audio or mic issues, you always can introduce yourself in the chat. So let's see if Abhishek has one. All right, so I'm sure that Abhishek would be giving intro in the chat. Then we have Anand Rajan on the call with us. So I wonder if it's first time for Anand to join us. If yes, Anand, can you
No, no,
give
no,
your
no.
intro?
I'm already in the team, but uh, due to some reasons, I'm only able to join now. Okay.
Cool. So okay, so you have been on this call before too, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you for confirming that. Then I see Ari Bisala on call, if that's how your name is pronounced. Pardon me if it's not. So can you please go next and introduce yourself?
Yes, Vivek, good afternoon. There is actually
Hi.
Tomua. Arizala is my surname. So good afternoon, nice to meet everyone. I joined the community yesterday. Lee sent me several links, so I joined, and I'm actually like looking up the tutorials and documentation to contribute.
Okay, great. And thank you for joining the call and also introducing you, Ari Bisala.
All
So
right, thank you.
yeah, like that's your name, right? Ari Bisala, like you said, it's your title. How should we call you? So Arivisara, like if you mind sharing your name, it's the, can you pronounce it for us very quick? Let's get the answer from Arivisara in chat. So, all right. Ibuka, like, is it the first time that you're on Mystery Dev Call?
Oh, hi. No, this is not my first time. I've been away for some time now. I just said let me join today. Yeah, it's not my first time. My name is
Yeah,
Ibuka.
thank you for
Yeah,
welcome to the call, Ibuka.
yeah.
And I think the last newcomers on the call, Utkarsh. So Utkarsh, do you mind giving your intro and talking about how did you come to know about the community and whether or not you are working on any item?
Yeah, I am Kaushal. So I joined the community last week, and currently I'm going through the Meshery development project and going through the code base and looking how the Meshery works.
Yeah. So thank you for hopping on the call, Utkarsh. Hopefully, by the end of the meeting, you will have idea of where to contribute and which items to work on. All right, folks. So looks like that's it all for today's newcomers. If we left anyone, make sure you give your intro in the chat itself. For those of you who just joined us, I will once again share this docs link in the chat box. Make sure you write any items that you have or also marking your attendance. So with that, let's get rolling with the topics. And first topic is from Easy Yoma. So let me quickly check if we have them on call. Yeah, looks like we do. So is that like, do you mind going next and sharing about your updates? So Izioma, like, can you hear us?
Oh yeah, I can hear you, sir. Okay,
Please go
so
ahead and
yeah, I'm currently working on building a Helm plugin for um Meshery, Meshery snapshot, sorry. And I also forwarded some documents earlier. I don't know if anyone had the time to look at it. Let me share my screen.
I did. It was it's good. We should bring it up real fast and introduce the initiative to people. Sort of, we should just make sure that we're also shooting after that. The objectives make sense. Maybe that's a good, as you introduce it to everyone on the call. Maybe that's a good way of vetting the objectives. Maybe some other people on the call have different idea. So Ijoma, if you want to, feel free to share your screen and
I have a problem sharing my screen, so I don't know if.
oh, okay, sure. Yeah, we can share it. So the link to the document that we're going to share is in Zoom chat. So any of you on the call can pull it up. If you find that you can't pull up the doc, just be sure that you're signed into your browser with the same email address that you used when you filled in your community member form. If you didn't fill in a community member form, there's a link in Zoom chat for it. So do that at any moment. And so, yeah, back to Ijoma. So Helm
Okay. Yeah, so currently we have a functionality to use that Meshery snapshots allows like users to import their Helm charts to create designs, right? We are currently using it on the applications on the like front end, and so now we want to sort of still use that same functionality, but build a Helm plugin for that, right? So it makes everything easier. Just build a Helm plugin that allows users to create designs with their Helm chart. So some of the, can you scroll down here?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, let's switch presenters so that we can, I'll make sure we give everybody a good taste of what's in here. So I'm pausing for just a moment just to reinforce what Ijoma was saying. She was just introducing the fact that one of Meshery's extensions is this ability to visualize a design, visualize infrastructure, and snapshot that at a moment in time. And there's an existing GitHub action. I'm just repeating what Ijoma just said. I'm trying to orient everybody. Yeah, there's an existing GitHub action that lets you, integrate the ability to visualize your like Helm chart per se, and things other than Helm charts, but visualize them and take an image, take a snapshot of them. If you're using the GitHub action, it's easy enough to integrate that GitHub action into your like pull requests, for example. I'm going to shut up in 2 seconds and Ijoma is going to take it from here. But so here's an example of a snapshot, and it's just a PNG, and it's just an image. This particular snapshot is, it's an image of Meshery's Helm chart. So anymore, when you install a Meshery, it usually is just like a single container. If you deploy it into Kubernetes with a Helm chart, then you get a container plus a deployment plus a service, but only one of each of those. The full-blown Helm chart has a bunch of optional Meshery adapters. And so each Meshery adapter would have its own pod, deployment, and service. And so anyway, as people go to visualize these, that's what the snapshot functionality is about. And so, yeah, Ijoma, back to you. You were saying scroll on down.
Yeah. So I was trying to talk about the goal of it. I think you've said it, but we sort of want to use like easily create the snapshot with the Helm CLI plugin. And there are some new functionalities that we have, like we can receive the snapshot via email, and the snapshot, when we create the snapshot, we get a URL for the snapshot, right? And you can get that through your email, or you can view it in your terminal, like the URL will be returned in terminal. Then also another functionality that we have is that you don't need to be logged in. Like that's something like we are proposing. Like you don't need to be, the user doesn't need to sign in Meshery to be able to use this functionality, right? And you can like, that's something like, and another thing is coming quite a lot. Okay, so another thing is we want to give the ability of, like, we have the ability to import or add, like be able to create a snapshot with a Helm chart that is either packaged or like unpackaged. So that's another functionality that we are adding. Yeah. Then yeah, also, sorry, I think there are quite a lot of like functionalities here. Sorry. So I don't know if I should like list everything out, Lee, or just sort of, right?
Yeah, no, this is great. The one thing that it's so easy for me to do this, and I think that this happens to a lot of us. Just to reset with everybody that's trying to digest this particular design specification. This is a specification for upcoming work to be done within the Meshery project. Ijoma is, maybe unfortunately for her, she's championing this area. So she's shouldering this, but she is like any feature that is developed, or she needs collaboration and she needs feedback, and she is both inviting comments as she explains this, both deciding whether or not this makes sense, and inviting collaborators as well. One thing that, just to be clear, that for everyone, we talked about, okay, well, there's an image. You can take a screenshot or a snapshot of the contents of a Helm chart. Great. Ijoma was saying Helm charts come in different flavors. Some of the times they're tar-gz, they're packaged up. Sometimes they're unzipped and you might point to a chart.yaml. Sometimes they're formatted as an OCI image. But okay, great, fine. But the other portion of where to put this in your mind is this particular functionality that we're talking about. We're talking about the creation of a Helm CLI plugin. So there's existing functionality that Meshery can do. Some of that is invocable through a GitHub action. And that makes it convenient for taking a screenshot, putting it onto a pull request. Great. What if I would like to have a screenshot of my Helm chart, but I'm not like submitting a pull request right now? I'm using the Helm CLI. Now the Helm CLI has a framework for plugins. And so that's the thrust of it. And then, like Ijoma was saying, there are a number of particulars. Two of the bigger particulars here are, well, there's two sort of big flows defined. And Ijoma was just saying this. So again, I'm just repeating what she's saying, which is these two flows. There's a flow in which someone just wants some anonymous user just wants to take a snapshot, sort of as an ad hoc one-time thing. And they don't want to create a Meshery user account. They don't want to, and they'd like to have that snapshot now, and they're willing to kind of wait for that command to execute. Because it takes Meshery a moment to like, okay, import your Helm chart, digest it, introspect it, render it, load up take a screenshot and render it, show it in a remote browser that is not on the user's CLI, because the user here, they're going to be on the terminal typing Helm commands, and they're going to invoke some process, some Meshery server, like the Meshery playground that's hosted, and it's going to go off and take their chart and import it, do all those things, and then take a screenshot, and then it's going to want to hand it back. Well, right now, what it will do is go merge, take that screenshot and publish it to a public repo. That way it could hand back a URL saying, oh, great, the process is done. And on the command line, return back with a URL. Here's your snapshot. Great. That's one way in which a user might want to use this. Great. Maybe waiting 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm not sure entirely. Like it's about 5 minutes or less maybe that it takes to do this. Maybe they don't want to sit there with their terminal blocked, and maybe they don't want to do this synchronous flow. They'd rather just do an asynchronous flow. Maybe they want to write some automation around it and just have snapshots taken all the time. They don't want snapshots put into their GitHub pull requests, but they do want them put somewhere else. So an alternative flow that Ijoma is exploring is to optionally let the user provide an email address where that URL would be sent to. So instead of forcing them to wait in a blocking mode while holding up their terminal and waiting for a URL to be returned, instead they could say, just sort of background this process, so to speak, or I've sent off this request, send me an email when it's done, and just give me the same link. It would be the same URL. So yeah, for Ijoma, sounds like fun, and sounds like some various moving parts. Who on the call has thoughts? Who thinks this is ridiculous? Who thinks this is really cool? Who thinks maybe, like now is a good time for questions and feedback, and who thinks this is really easy to do or really difficult to do?
For me, I'm excited about it.
Well, that goes for me too. I'm excited. Who else? Who didn't really get it? Who's like, well, I sort of got you're taking a picture of a Helm chart. Neat. Who cares? Or like, why? Is there anybody that's thinking that?
Like in addition to this functionality, I have one solution, which is like, so every time you release a Helm chart, so inside the chart.yaml, you also have a functionality to like include some of the snapshots or link to the screenshots or snapshots. So, and most of the like communities or most of the projects use some like Helm releaser, which automatically generates the index.yaml file and does its stuff. So I was thinking that if you can fork the open available Helm releaser and add the functionality for Meshery snapshots. So whenever a project releases a Helm chart, we will automatically invoke this snapshot against the release Helm chart and include the link inside the chart.yaml. So it would mean that as these charts gets published to other repositories, like for Artifact Hub or any other registry, if they have support for like rendering the snapshots or URL, they can like easily this snapshot can improve the overall. So
Good. I don't know if I'm capturing it correctly, but New Helm chart versions are published with some frequency. Perhaps another venue or another moment in time by which people would want to consume or want to see a snapshot would be as and when that new Helm chart version is being packaged and released. And if it's possible to do, if that approach is taken, it sounds like there might be an opportunity to embed the link to the snapshot, like as a piece of information contained within the chart itself. Is that about what you said?
Yes.
Other thoughts? This is great. I'm just taking notes. And you might have some thoughts and they haven't come to you yet. They might come to you later. Or if you have some thoughts and you'd rather air them out separately, well, the individual to see is Ijoma Ete. And I nailed that pronunciation, by the way. I nailed it. Thanks to Awani, she's been helping me with. But but please see Ijoma. She had sent out an email to the developers mailing list. The what? Yeah, there's a set of mailing lists out there on Meshery.io. If you're nerdy like some of the rest of us, then this is a decent mailing list to be on. And if you're super nerdy, then just join them all. And Ijoma, anything else that we should add before we move on?
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. I said nothing for now, but I'll be reaching out to a couple of people, right, because I'm using the existing functionality, so I might need a bit of clarification while I'm working. So just in case I DM you. Yeah.
Next up, we have Amit. Got some test coverage happening. Amit, are you with us? Do you want to maybe share your screen and talk about?
Okay, I will share my screen.
All right.
Okay, so my PR regarding is about the increase the test coverage of the Meshery utils package. So I basically increased the test coverage of 30% around for this utils package. And as you see, this put a lot of new code in the test for the utils package, and I make sure that there is no the error or not everything works fine. And in this PR, the test cases are failing for the same reason that we had discussed for last day, Messery dev meeting. It is because the some integration tests are failing.
Okay, if you pull the latest Meshery and merger branch, so this should be fixed the integration test one. And could you show the file that how you are increasing the coverage test?
Yeah, sure.
Code for bit, just a quick glance.
So I added some of the code, some of code files, and I modified some of the existing code.
Okay, can you just scroll down? Okay. Yes. We are not matching the golden files now, no?
No,
Okay. Then I'll review. I'll review the PR and then I think we could be good to merge this. There are some changes made to the Meshery CTL as a whole. So I'll merge this and then if anything comes up, I'll tag you and then you can update your PR afterwards. Okay.
sure.
And you can merge the branch to get rid of that integration test. Okay, sure.
Yeah, this is from my side.
Thank you, Amit. So we'll keep going ahead. And by the way, if you want to take a look at the changes made by Amit, so the link for that PR is in chat. Next up, we have an item from Utkarsh. So let me quickly check if we have a person report. Yep, we do. So
Yeah,
Utkarsh,
hi.
do you mind going next? And okay. You can start sharing your screen and basically talk.
So my issue was that the tab was not working in input fields. Like when we enter the name and I press tab here, it is not going to the next input field, which is description. So I fixed that with this. It is now working. So to fix that, I removed the help icon from the tab index. Yeah, that was my issue.
Okay, let me quickly ask for any feedback on this one.
Yeah, one thing. Basically, we had this
Please go
issue
ahead.
with other models as well. So have you
Yeah,
checked it with other models?
yeah, I checked. Like in configuration, uh, in designs, there was an issue. There was the same issue. The tab is now working for all the inputs.
Ooh, nice. Yeah. Hey, I'll throw you a curveball just to make it fun. And probably you've got this covered, Utkarsh, but if this is a live, if you're sharing the actual, if you click on technology and if there's a drop-down list of selections, very good. If this list gets long and that's a very good thing, since Meshery integrates with all these. Let's say that I want to check mark Kubernetes.
Okay.
How might you do that other than having to sort of scroll to find it?
I can simply press enter
Press
and
enter.
it will be checked.
Yeah, if you hit tab from here, it just leaves this and goes to the next input field. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes to the research.
Nice. If you hit shift tab, it just cycles back.
Yeah.
Okay. Or does it go in reverse order? That was I guess it's kind of a silly question, but yeah, great. Oh, perfect. It sounds like you're hitting the nail on the head. It sounds like you accomplished the mission. Hey, if you like as for extra credit or for bonus points, if you go back to that technology dropdown, and if you're like me and sometimes can't, don't have good control over your mouse wheel, you'll be frustrated trying to scroll to like Kubernetes. If you were to hit K, like start to type out like Kuber. Okay. And if you type sort of quickly, KUB, how does it get you even closer? Or does it just, anyway.
I am pressing Q, rolling down the K, not Kubernetes.
Kubernetes? Yeah. Sorry, I'm not just making fun of any of the way in which you were saying it. I just spazzed out there for a second. It's just fun to say Kubernetes in a bunch of different ways. I hear so many people saying it different ways. Sometimes I said Kubernetes. Like anyway, there's a bunch of anyway. Sorry. Great, man. Hey, dude, I think you hit I can't see that this wouldn't get merged. This is great. if you do the extra credit stuff, it might be that you could, there might be some form of a type ahead or some form of like a search or something, so that those that want to type in the name rather than scroll to it, but this is great, man. Ukarsh, is this isn't your first PR on the project, is it? Or
Yeah, it's my first year.
Looks like a home run to me. This is great. Were you able to, now the tab indexes that you put into this form, are those, so we have a lot of forms, the project does, and we use the library that you've become familiar with a bit, the React JSON schema form, RJSF, just a JavaScript library. And it would be nice if the work that you have done isn't just specific to just this form, but if there's a practice or convention or way that we can set auto tab indexes or like have tab indexes work across all of the forms, that'd be great. So good. So
Sorry, I got.
Say it again.
Can you repeat?
Yeah, we use a lot of forms. If what you've
Yeah.
done is specific to this form, that's not
No,
as.
I've done to all the forms.
Did you manually do it to all the forms?
Yeah.
Okay, so when someone creates a new form, we'll just call you back and have you do it again. So anyway, the
No,
point
no.
is, yeah, think about it if you would. Think about how we can either have a convention or if there's some setting within the library that we could use.
Oh.
That would be great.
Basically, I did fix the base input field. So if we create a new form, then there won't be an issue.
Nice. Okay. That's good. Where's that persisted at, that setting? Okay, actually, I'll follow up in Slack. If you could let me know like how it is that what you've done will universally ensure that when we create a new form, tab indexes will be considered. That's wonderful. Next up, we have Antoinette. Antoinette, we've got you down for some systems work.
Yeah, so internet sent word that should be dropping out for some reason. So
Oh yeah, she got an appointment that started 5 minutes ago. So yeah, okay. Very good. Moeen, you're up, Kubernetes icon. Yeah, so Muhammad.
Moin, can you hear us?
Yeah, just a minute. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible to you guys. So there was just a small issue that I tried to fix. Basically, Lee was having an issue with this Kubernetes icon. There was an error with this one, so I just tried to solve it out. So basically, there was already a fallback image for it. Let me show you the code. Okay, so here it is. Basically, it is rendering dynamically the image, but we already had a fallback image, but still Lee was having this issue. So I just added an on error handler to target this issue. Other than that, I also added a styling thing for object fit content. Sometimes like image is out of order, so this will help us out as well. That's it.
Thank you for your update, Moin. Still that's really helpful. All right, folks. So next up, we have this Meshery incubation
Just
presentation
one thing more.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, one thing more. Basically, I was also handling that registry logs. So I had a question that basically previously we were having it the registry logs file path via event API, but I just got to know that we are not that event API is not now targeting or sharing the registry logs file path. So how I'm going to like get that file path now?
Okay, so do you mind following up on this question in Slack? So maybe
Okay.
I can answer it quickly, Vishal.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So as I mentioned in our discussion that you could use a button, create a button on the registry page, and when you hit that up, then you can fetch the data from the file. So as I mentioned, the logs are still stored inside .meshery/log/registry/registry error. So you can get that particular data from that file and just display it on a terminal-like screen.
But
Yeah.
Shlok, like the file path is dynamic, na? For me, it's like it will have my name, Muin. For
You can
you, it will
use
have Shlok.
os.pwd for returning, as I gave you the code. I'll update you with that.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moin. So, yep. So either Lee or Krish, do you want to share this item? I have already shared the presentation link in chat for those of you interested in taking a look at it.
Yeah, yeah, I would, except now I can't figure out how to get rid of this annotation. I'm stuck in annotation mode. Do you mind sharing the slides? Maybe this is embarrassing. Oh my gosh. Yeah, or anybody want to click that link and share? Okay. I'm sorry. Does everyone see my name on the screen in purple of all colors?
Yep, we do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Does anybody know how to? Okay, I feel a little retarded right now. How do you stop using annotation mode? Come on.
Shortcut very join.
Oh, this is sad. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, hey, tomorrow is a big deal. Meshery's been around for, well, actually, this deck should tell us how long Meshery has been around and the milestones that the project has gone through. We are in our 0.7 release. We're very close to honing in on our 0.8 release. There's a slide in here that needs to tell people the story of when we got started and what it looked like back then and what the project looks like now. And so Chris has graciously actually volunteered to present maybe about 15 to 20 slides or so tomorrow at the CNCF TAG network meeting. TAG stands for Technical Advisory Group. I promise we won't have a purple Lee on the screen. Chris, I anticipate that, or I'll ask you this, or I'll suggest this. If there's any convenient time for you today, between just after the call to any time to midnight or what have you, just name the time and we could walk through it. There's lots of things to say around the slides. I'll be on tomorrow's call there to back up. I'll hopefully not say anything. If I've done my job well, you'll have it totally covered. But I'll be answering questions in Zoom chat or I'll chime in, and you're welcome to pull me in at any moment tomorrow. But I promise that we'll have much better slides here. Really, it ends up being it's an overview of the project. It needs to be like an overview of just high level architect, like high level what it is, high level features like it does performance management. And we don't have to go super deep necessarily. It does performance management. You can create a performance profile and generate load. Great. Like we don't have to go, unless if they want to ask more questions, wonderful. But there's just so much to cover about what Meshery is. And so at its core, the way that it would be presented is that it's an extensible platform. It's an engineering platform that comes with a lot of things in the box and a number of different APIs. There'll be a slide that has the extension points and so features and architecture sort of, and then a bunch of softer side things of like some stats on the community, stats on contributors and maintainers, the variety of them, a bit about how many releases we've done, or maybe a bit about our release process, the fact that we have or the community itself, like we meet once a week. We sit here and sometimes are forced to listen to Lee for a little while. And then that we have an every other week build and release meeting. We've got ongoing, it's sort of, some of it can be ad lib from you just in terms of random, hey, we're in the process of moving off of Cypress for our integration tests over to Playwright, sort of an inconsequential comment, but just, and so we have, test plans per release. Here's our release cadence. You can see this chart that shows how frequently releases, intermediary releases are done highly frequently. There's 2 release channels and blah, blah, blah. There's just kind of a regurgitation of a lot of the stuff that you already know, but that will be in these slides so that it'll prompt you. And we would talk a bit about the adopters, and wrap it up with some roadmap. Can you scroll, Vivek, through the slide, just like the first 15? So this one would be more on extension points. Keep going. If you go to the end towards the roadmap, so the roadmap itself is in Meshery's repo, or the Meshery repo, roadmap.md. It just calls out high level either features or engineering activities that we would do per, it's like slide 15, 16. High level features and engineering activities that we would do as a goal of a given release. We've been fairly consistent, or we've been fairly on point with our goals. It's like slide 15 or 16. It's slide 14. So if you start at 40 and you subtract 25, you'll land at like 15. And you'll just keep receiving sarcasm from Lee. If you go up to 14, if you would, one more. Great. This doesn't call out a ton, but is a little bit of a regurgitation of what's out there. I'll send over a couple of examples of other slides that people have presented, other decks. And yeah, it'll be a really friendly thing. Like if there's any, one of 2 things will happen, and maybe both will happen, is that other folks on the call are quite intrigued about Meshery's capabilities and just want to dive in and ask more questions about it. Does it do this, and can it do that? Some people might be curious about the extension points, like where the core project stops and where extensions start. And so there's good clarifications to draw around that. Like one thing is on meshery.io, there's a small GIF showing one of the more prominent extensions, MeshMap. And underneath it says, the caption says, hey, this is an example extension. And so there's a bunch of extensions. Meshery adapters are examples of extensions. Anyway, Chris, I apologize I should have gotten this to you a week ago. And I'm going to get these slides cleaned up. And if you have time today, I'll spend as much time as you'd like, just sort of sitting on each slide. And
yeah, should I just look for time on your calendar and send you an invite? Is that easiest?
That'd be great. Yeah, which I don't even, whatever time is best for you, just slap it on. Just
right. And there's like 100 slides in here. Is there gonna be a subset of that, or?
Oh yeah. It's just, those are just backup, just in case. Okay. It's, but it should be 20 or less slides. Like it shouldn't be, if we can do it in 15, great.
And did you say, do we have videos of similar presentations that have happened in the past?
Yeah. I'll dig those up right now on the call just to. Cool. But anybody else have comments or questions? Everybody is welcome to attend Chris's presentation tomorrow. The invite to that meeting is on the community calendar. And in a lot of respects, it's kind of a good overview of Meshery and all that it contains. So you're more than welcome to come. You're encouraged to. Good. That's it's going to be an awesome milestone for the project. It's going to mean a lot for the project. Right now, it's been in sandbox for a few years, and because there's so many projects inside the CNCF, the sandbox projects only receive a certain amount of support, or they're only afforded so much help in marketing or help in certain resources. And so, yeah, it'll be a big moment.
And these kinds of presentations, are they, I mean, they're obviously invitations for, I believe it's tag runtime, right? So like those people can give feedback. I mean, is there anything that comes out of this, or is it kind of just a milestone and an opportunity for discussion?
There is an artifact that comes out of it. They end up writing here. I'll share the screen. So that's an excellent question. So we have the CNCF and foundation that has, it's one foundation of many underneath the Linux Foundation umbrella. And so there are sibling foundations like the Cloud Native, what is it, CDF, Cloud Native Delivery Foundation? Or I don't know, I forget what it's called. Anyway, there's a bunch of very related ones and some not related ones. Within the CNCF, there are a couple hundred projects. There's all kinds of things that go on. But of the projects, they're divided into these levels. As we propose that Meshery there's certain criteria that says, hey, if you'll know that your project is ready for this level of maturity. How mature is your project? If it has these qualities, if you're doing these things, maybe it's got to do with like security around, how secure is the code, or how fast you respond to resolve issues, or within the CNCF, there's a variety of a couple of groups or a couple of roles that people have. There is a technical oversight committee. This is comprised of folks who are largely voted into role for a period of time, maybe a year or a couple of years. It's about 11 or so, maybe 13 or so people who don't work at the Linux Foundation. They are folks that have been in the community for a while and have spent a lot of time around these projects and are an agnostic board that's empowered with decision-making authority, or half of the decision-making authority for the CNCF. The other half of maybe third is with the CNCF staff, those that work there and help run all this stuff. And then there's a governing board. They're appointed. It's usually comprised of people who are from companies that provide large sponsorship, or they are from those companies. Anyway, there's a bunch of other, there's other roles. One of the ones that's not described here are technical advisory groups, tags. And there's like 8 of them ish. Each of these tags, they have responsibility over a section of the CNCF landscape. So more or less, these tags are focused around technology or function. So, and for Meshery, we're currently categorized. Anyway, somewhere down there. And to answer Chris's question quite directly, the tag is supposed to listen and ask questions and poke and prod, and then write up a recommendation. And example recommendations are often, but not always, posted on GitHub. the process has changed a ton over the years. Here's an example, technical advisory group as a network-based focus. Some recommendations that have been written up by them in the past are just a paper that is, in a lot of respects, a regurgitation of the same data that was provided to them by the issue that you opened or by the presentation that we give, and et cetera. And it's sort of in their own words, regurgitating the same things that were said about that the project maintainers said. Eventually, it sort of it's them double checking that, oh yeah, this requirement is met. They do have a governance file, et cetera. Blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, really, oh yeah, and they toward the end, it's like, and here's our recommendation. We think that they meet the criteria, and we recommend that when the technical oversight committee, the TOC, we recommend that when it comes around to review for you, that you go forward with it and you take it through its due diligence process, which involves like interviewing adopters and whatever else the TOC wants to do. That this is the artifact, the outcome largely of what the tag runtime will do.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, and here's an example. This is one that I wrote. This is a graduation level analysis, but the incubation levels are pretty similar. And what the tags are supposed, because the technical advisory group, that TOC group, since they're only like 11 or 12 folks and they have full-time jobs somewhere else as well. The tag network, tag runtime, those groups are supposed to help do some pre-processing up front, that they're supposed to filter out the weeds or like, kick the tires and sort of prep and form some opinions and help position, help bundle up that package and get it ready for easier consumption by this committee. Eventually, what would happen is one or two of the TOC members would be the process has changed a whole bunch. So they'll basically they'll sign up to sponsor it, or like one or two of them will say, hey, I'll take Meshery, I'll go through the process, and dig through it, do the diligence, come back, and either with recommendations the project needs to mature more, or whatever that feedback is. But if they've been trying to improve it, it takes for a long time. It's good, it's appropriate that there's diligence. It's just
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at the slides and maybe second.
yeah. I'll get you some links to exam.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lee and Chris. So for anyone who wants to join us on tomorrow's incubation presentation of Meshery, so the link to that meeting would be in chat, so you can subscribe to community calendar for getting the updates. Then next up, we have item from Nitish about Meshery adapter extension. So Nitish, do you mind sharing your update?
Yep. As it's been brought up, I think a couple of times in this meeting as well, we have some extension points in Meshery, and one of them is we have Meshery adapters. So we've been, I think we have around 7 or 8 adapters right now supporting different service meshes. But the problem with that is like one thing, like there are some problems with that. One thing is that like they were very service mesh oriented, and for a long time they have not been updated. So Meshery has been there's been a lot of changes in Meshery, and those changes have not been transferred over to uh, the adapters. So because of that, the current status of adapters were sort of not usable. I won't go into the specifics of the details, but yeah, there are some issues with that. So we've had a chat, and we decided that we would make the Meshery adapters extension point more generic, in the sense that right now
the adapters. So basically, we are using gRPC to we are using a gRPC server to sort of like a extension framework right now. So that actually facilitates the uh, yeah extensibility. So the problem with that is right now our profile does not is very rigid in the sense that it has it sort of defines a set of operations that an adapter can perform. But in fact, that is not what we would want. Like we would want the adapters to be more generic, in the sense they should not be limited to service meshes, or they should not have to like they should be more generic. So this proposal is a way to move in that direction to make sure that the adapters can in fact uh, expose certain capabilities on their own, and are not limited by any limited in any sense by the extension framework itself. So this is a step towards that direction, and this proposal is in its first stage, I'd say. And you can go through this, and then like if you have any comments or any suggestions, you can add them, and we'll be going over this and uh, creating a plan of action, and then like we'll be moving forward with that. So I have a couple of suggestions over here, and you can read them out, and if you have any suggestions, you can point them out. So does anyone have any comments regarding this?
Thank you, Nitish. So the link to this proposal is in chat. So anyone who's wondering to, who wants to take a look, you can do that. All right, Slok, you are up next.
There were two updates from my side. One was regarding, so we are in the process of moving to the actual V1 Beta 1 schema, and we were in need of a migration script. So I wrote a migration script, a one-time script that can be used to convert the existing components and models to the current V1 Beta 1 schema. And the script can be is located inside schema scripts and convert component.go. So there were a few bugs. I went ahead and fixed those, and now I think this script is good. So we can run this once, and it should generate all the components and models according to the correct schema of V1 Beta 1. Any questions regarding the script?
Does it work? Are all components converted?
Yeah, so currently it's not merged inside the main Meshery repo, but yeah, we are converting all the components. Once we merged.
Yeah, will this be invoked on an ongoing basis as and when? No, it's a one-time.
Only once, yeah, just one time.
To the extent that someone imports a design that has descriptions of old components, how do those get upgraded?
That logic is handled separately. I guess Ozer mentioned that it was handled separately. As soon as we import the design, we convert it to the new. Ozer might be able to shine some light.
So that is that if someone imports an older design, so that logic is separate from how we will have this script. So that would the logic for like converting the older design to newer design is implemented or embedded inside the Meshery API handlers itself. So each of the APIs that supports the retrieval or rendering of the designs that includes that have the ability to upgrade the designs and then send it to the clients. So it is in like.
So thank you. I got lost for a moment. Actually, my question is, hey, why are those two things separate? That seems like we're just doing double work and introducing the possibility of bugs. But I could be off.
No, because like the older design format doesn't include direct references to component definition. So it was not directly referenced to component definition. So we cannot directly use the script. So they had to be like different logic, and because like we are using like settings and traits and services which were like nowhere found inside the component definitions. So that's why the reason for like having separate scripts, and the reason for like having this script as like one-time migration, because the generator that we have, model generator, is already upgraded to ensure that the components that get generated are in accordance with the new scheme. So only we need to ensure is that whatever older components that we have gets migrated to the new scheme. So that's why this will be a one time, or anyone who has like exported the models, the older models, can use the script to convert and then re-import inside Meshery if they want to. Does that answer the question?
I still don't get it. Yeah, I'll ask separately. Thanks for that.
The other update was, as I mentioned, we were updating the generator and updater script too. So this is the update regarding the Meshery CTL component generator and updater update that we now migrate. We get the data based on the schema from the integration sheet and map it to the server mesh model folder for the components and the registrar. So I have been testing these, and it's a success in every respect. Only for the registrant, which is Meshery, the registrant data is not mapped properly. So that's the bug that I have currently, and that should be fixed, and then we should be good to go with this too.
Yeah. Should that CTL logic be in Meshkit?
The logic is in Meshkit, only the means, yeah, we could migrate it to the Meshkit, but it's just the spreadsheet logic is over here. The actual logic for generation is inside Meshkit. Only the spreadsheet logic is over there.
Yep. So you can't import the spreadsheet into Meshery server. You have to use a CLI to do it. Okay. Okay. I mean, it could be okay.
We could migrate it to Meshkit. Dayong has a PR open. I'll need to update the PR with this thing, and then we can merge that.
Yeah, maybe. Not all of my suggestions are awesome suggestions. Like, I don't know. At some point, you could just make an argument that like everything should be shoved into the central library Meshkit. That way, it can be reused everywhere. It's like that's not such a great suggestion. You could imagine that someone might want to, click to refresh the import a CSV file or import a spreadsheet, or click to refresh from, like, yeah, you could imagine that someone would want to do it from a different client other than Meshery CTL. So I'm not sure how difficult it is to move, or what other people think about, moving it, but.
These were the two updates. One more update was there regarding the operator, but I think we have already went through it, me and Lee. The standard operators.
Yeah. Did you end up choosing a direction there?
No, you said to the doc. I was talking about the docs that we have inside the community drive. Oh, I could get the link.
So there's been a couple of users that have deployed Meshery and have had some challenges with the IP address assignment that happens for like Meshery broker and mesh sync, and then making sure that between Meshery server, mesh sync, and Meshery broker, that they're all able to communicate. Sometimes Kubernetes admins need to go change around networking for the broker service, for example. And to date, our operator has not done a good job of reconciling those changes or understanding those changes. And so you've done an analysis of how other operators handle these types of scenarios. And this is your analysis. This is great. skipping to the conclusion, you were recommending what be done?
So currently, means as Lee said, the as you see the internal tag, it's referencing the DNS name over here. But currently, what Meshery broker does, it references the actual IP address. That is not robust because the IP address could change, and yeah, the other operators that we have in that follow the standard Kubernetes terminology or methods is they use DNS name rather than using the actual hard-coded IP address. So the proposal was to use the DNS name rather than the hard-coded IP address for the internal, and for external we can use the Kubernetes services, and we can get the data for load balancers and ingress. So yeah, it contains all the data of how to do it and small code. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that helps, that sort of ignores it's good. It also sort of ignores the problem of Meshery controllers actually like keeping track of changes to their custom resources. So if someone goes into a custom resource for a Meshery broker and changes around its networking, the change that you're proposing says, well, good, you can change the IP address of the service, but you must and have to and shall only ever use this domain name.
Yeah.
And
So
a lot of,
yeah.
a lot of times that's probably just fine. I could see in some instances where, that might be a challenge.
So the issue with Jiren was that Jerfin was that his IP address, the external and internal IP were missing for him. So how other operators handle is they don't initialize the IP address rather they use the DNS name. So that's more robust.
Yeah,
And that was the proposal.
It is. Maybe I'm misinterpreting. Let me ask this question: if the project is, if Meshery server and Meshery operator are referring to Meshery broker by domain name, to abstract away the IP address, good, great. If someone changes the domain name for that service, will the operator reconcile that? Will Meshery server understand that name has changed?
No, we'll have to write the logic.
Okay,
that changes the name.
Okay, good. That was what my comment a moment ago was about, was saying like, oh, that's good, but you're pretty much ignoring the root of the problem. The root of the problem is our controllers are not being watching intelligently for changes to the details of the custom resources that they're managing. And using a domain name, just for my part, just as feedback, it sounds great. That's helpful, and it provides a layer of indirection. And but if we're also ignoring changes, we might have only solved half of the battle. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I get it. We'll need to update and research why we should. So how it should update the DNS name or something if someone messes that up manually.
Well, yeah, or how the control. Yeah, yes, right.
I'll update that in the docs against the data. I get the data. That was the update I had.
Thank you, Slow. So, we are already 10 minutes over the time. So thank you all for joining and participating. So I would just make this announcement that tomorrow, we have a couple of meetings, newcomers meeting that you can join to get an overview on the projects and community. And also you are very much welcome to join, Meshery's incubation proposal. So once again, the link to the community calendar would be in chat. Feel free to subscribe to it. And with that, thank you once again, everyone. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Thanks, Vivek. See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.